Hey.
There we go. Can, can you see me now?
Yeah, yeah. Was I talking then? Could you see me? I was
Yeah, I
talking, I
can
was
see
thinking you
you.
could see it. I couldn't see myself. I was thinking, oh,
Ha-
what have I done? Everything okay?
have you got your Wi-Fi on?
Let me...
Because your picture is like frozen.
Is it all right
That's
now?
better. Yeah, that's better.
All right.
Oh, you've frozen again. Can you see me okay? Okay.
Can you see me now?
I can see you, but it's like the quality is very bad. You're like in you're pixelated.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
See, yeah, you're clear on mine now, yeah.
How are you?
I'm all right. The isolation hasn't been too bad for me, to be honest. My life pretty lives like this anyway, so I'm not really out of my depth.
Have you had access to the gym or are you doing stuff at home? What's your setup been like?
My old amateur club give me the keys to their gym, so I can just go
Lovely.
there whenever I want on myself. So the only difference really for me is I don't have a coach standing over me or anything, but I've been able to do near enough everything else myself.
At your level, is it kind of obviously nice to have a coach there, but you just have to kind of adapt to, being your own motivation, I suppose, is it?
Yeah, definitely, because like Eddie now, he's trying to get some of the fights set up for July or August, and it's not going to be like one of them fights where you get 10, 12 weeks in
Hmm.
preparation. You might only get 4 or 5 weeks, so you've got to make sure your weight's down. You've got to make sure you're basically ready to go to the gym and just get straight into sparring and finishing up touches.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, I've kept myself in pretty good condition, and because one of the problems with me always is making the weight too quick. But
Hmm.
from where I've been training for like ticking over for so long, I'm all right now.
So does the fact that it will be behind closed doors and there'll be no audience, how does that make you feel?
Don't get me wrong, it's preferable to have the audience there, obviously,
Hmm.
because it can lift you. But the majority of the time, I'm fighting in other people's back gardens, with them all against me, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Now the only difference is you're fighting in the boss's back garden.
Yeah, I'll be able to hear the cameraman going ooh because it'll be that quiet.
Well, I don't know if you watched any of the UFC events that have been happening with no audience, but it's such a strange
Yeah,
environment
the
as a
only
fan
one I
to watch.
watched. Yeah, the only one I watched was Ferguson, and he ends up getting
Yeah.
beat when he wasn't meant to get beat, and that
Mm.
just that was an eye opener to show you that like these sort of fights, someone who's meant to win can easily slip up. Do you know what I mean? So you got to make sure you're on top of your game, definitely. But I didn't really.
Absolutely.
On the other ones, there was I think that was like the Saturday. There was another show again on the Monday and another one on the Thursday, but they were on at like 5 and 6 in the morning. I was like, you got no chance of me staying up at that
Yeah.
time. No
No, watch the
chance.
highlights the next day. That's the best bet.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously, like it would have been a busy year for you, I imagine, with everything that was happening. Obviously, with the move to Ingle Gym and stuff. How
Yeah.
frustrating is it that I know we're all in the same boat, but you obviously had big plans with Dominic and with the team and with what you were going to do going forward. How frustrating is you to have all that kind of put on hold now?
Well, even like since we moved with Dominic and then this has happened, so I haven't been able. The first fight camp, we didn't have like a lot of time with each other. It was only like 6, 7 weeks, and we jumped into a fight, and then the fight we were meant to have pulled out on the week of the fight. Then like two
Hmm.
days later, the opponent changed again, and then we got in with someone that didn't really. It was like lower standards, and like my morale had dropped a bit. Like I didn't really want to be in with an opponent like that, but
Hmm.
you'd have to just make do with what you were given, and you were obviously you're getting paid. It's your job, so
Yeah.
you just got to make sure you still perform as well as you can. But then like times like now, I'd ideally wanted to stay up in Sheffield as much as I could straight after my fight, and carry on learning and doing drills with them and learning new stuff.
Mm.
But now because of this, the gym's very limited on how much it's open. Like it's not open for any amateurs, and it may be like some of the other kids, like
Hmm.
Barry Galahad, might have a set of keys where he can go in on himself and do a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So I would have been ideally wanting to do that and like do the odd things with Dominic, but because of all this going on, I've literally got to wait to get the go ahead where I can. Because for me personally, it's not worth, because I have to pay for like all my travel expenses, I have to pay for where I'm living, everything down Sheffield, and then if there's no end product, there's no fights that are going to happen. I'm down there for all that time when God knows when boxing's going to return. So that's why I'm hoping like pretty soon, like some more things can get confirmed, and then I can make my way down there.
I remember watching like a couple of media stuff that you had done, interviews around the time that you had made the decision to go train at Ingle Gym. And one of the things that was really refreshing to hear you talk about was how, like, yes, you're in a new gym, yes, you have new teammates now and new sparring partners and a new coach, but it was your kind of honesty in the sort of like, I'm having to learn to adapt to a new environment, and you know, stuff like that, maybe the techniques that they do and some of the movement drills and different things, and your openness to say, I haven't got it yet and I have to learn and I have to practice. How difficult is that, you know, as somebody who is at your level, to have to go into a new environment? Yes, it's for the betterment of yourself and your career, but we kind of see more often than not with guys who have progressed in their career, learning is the one thing that they kind of put to the back of their minds, I suppose. And it's a little bit to do with ego. It's a little bit to do with thinking they know best. So for you, how important was it for you to put all that behind?
That was one of my reasons. Like when I was in my old gym, I was like I wouldn't say the boss of the gym, but I took a lot of things into my own perspective on what I thought was best and things like that. And there wasn't any other fighters in the gym at the time. They'd all gone to other gyms, and then there was new younger lads coming in, and there wasn't really much motivation for me. And although the coaching and the team and everyone around me were all great, I knew I needed something new. But at the time, like, I kept winning and kept winning. So like the saying goes, you don't want to fix something that's not broke. And then when the decision went against me, against Lewis, I thought, taking me age into consideration, where I'm at in my career, I've already accomplished everything at like English and European level. I need something new to motivate me and hopefully push me on to that next level where I'm so eagerly wanting to get to. And then when I was like speaking to other gyms and things like that, and then I tried Dominic's gym out with the Ingles, and like you were saying, then they have like a routine of just the lines, which are so well known. There's lines all over the floor. I was like, I had two left feet. I was thinking, what is going on in here? And then there was like the amateurs were coming in, and I was still on the lines because like I wouldn't leave them alone. I'm one of them people, like I have the type of personality. When I put my head to something, I want to be able to complete it before I go home that day. And I was still in there, and the amateurs had come in, and I still couldn't do it. And I was like, this isn't going to be something that I can just learn overnight. So, and then as time's gone on, like every gym, like even if you just pick up a normal PT, pads are like 1-2 left hook, 1-2 left hook right hand. When these are doing pads, it's like they shout the number 1. That could be like a 3-punch combination. Then they shout like dip, and you think just like dip your head. That's like another combination. So you've got to learn it all the way they do it. And I was like, oh my God. Don't get me wrong. They take the mick out of me even now because I'm still nowhere near as good as them. Dominic thinks I've got learning difficulties because I can't follow them as good as the rest of them. But it's all learning, and I will get it eventually.
So I know you've spoke about it before, but now that you've been there a couple of months and obviously you're establishing relationships with the team and with Dominic, why do you think that it's such a special gym, and why do you think, if you could pinpoint it, what is the reasoning behind them having so many elite athletes and world champions?
I said this in like a previous interview, like when I was first joining them, it's like they've got a setup and a routine, and it's very structured the way it is. It's very professional. Like Dominic's not there to be your best mate, to be honest. He's there to coach you, and you've got to be there to listen. It's pretty straightforward. But like things like you've got to be up at a certain time because Dominic might text you to get to the gym for 7 a.m, but he might not. so it keeps you on your toes. The next day, you could be in the gym at 6, but you might not be until 12. But you can't be out gallivanting all night because you might have to be up first thing in the morning. So everything's like proper coached and proper routines, and he's standing over you through every single session, whether you be running, whether it be strength and conditioning, whether it be sparring, whether it just be shadow boxing. He's standing over you all the time, and I think the structure he's laid out and what his dad Brendan and the numerous world champions that have been there over time have all followed this routine. But when I went there, it was like they're not trying to change my specific style. Like, as most people know, a lot of my fights are ding-dongs, but they teach every fighter the same way, and then you can take what they show you and add it to your arsenal. So although everyone has learned the same way, we only take pieces of what we think is preferable for us. So it like I was saying, like I only had really 8 weeks in total, maybe, with Dominic, and the last week we were ready for fight, so not much was going on. That was more of a bonding time, just in the hotel, just me and him and things like that. So the sooner this like blows over, is more the better for me, because I can get back down there and carry on learning.
Absolutely. And it's so good to hear you talk about that as well, because I think there's a bit of a misconception with kind of the newer pros or the younger guys in the sport, and they think that when they get to someone like your level, that the hard work is done and they can just sit back and coast. Do you know what I mean? But it's refreshing to hear you say that the learning still goes on and there's still much more to learn.
Well, if you do sit back and you do think like, this is me, well then you probably are, you've finished level. You're probably not going to progress anymore. Whereas I've always been brought up like, if you stop learning or you're not interested anymore, then it's time to get out. Where I'm eager to learn. Like, anyone that even follows me on social media, I'm constantly banging on about nutrition. I'm constantly banging on about fitness and things like that. So I'll take everything just to keep trying adding as much as I can, and hopefully one day I can put it to good use and gets me to where I want to be.
Where you want to be? What are the goals now? Because you've achieved so much, obviously British, Commonwealth, European titles. What is the next goal for you?
Like, I always set small goals. Like, obviously, because of that defeat, it knocked me out of the rankings and things like that. So my short-term goal now is to get back into the top 10s with governing bodies and things like that. So just before all this, Eddie had texted me after my last fight, and obviously he probably knew by the way I was in the ring that I wasn't too happy with my performance and things like that. All my team were happy with my performance because it was like a spar for me, and it was like, you get paid to have a spar. But with me, I was thinking in my head, if I didn't listen to your demands of boxing, I could have just steamrolled him, but I'd have probably took a few bumps and bangs on the way in. But then Eddie had even messaged me saying, big one next, etc. And I was thinking, yes, that's what I need to get me up for it. But then now, because of all of this, it can't happen. But only 2 days ago, I was messaged, I can't say who, but I was messaged to go and fight behind closed doors in another country against a former world champion. So like, I'm still getting thought of in that sort of level. But when they said, because at first when they mentioned the fight, I was like, yeah, I'm right up for that. And then they mentioned like Latvia, and I went, no chance. I was like, he's a Russian. I was like, he's a Russian, no chance of my going to anyone's back garden. So that went out the window straight away. Sorry, go on. I was said to me manager, don't even text them back. I don't even want to know.
Block him.
He was laughing his head off.
How has the I suppose the business side of boxing changed since you signed with Matchroom? Like, when you're growing up and you're watching all the big fights on TV and you're, looking and you're aspiring to be like the greats that have gone before you, and then you get to the position where you sign with someone like Matchroom, who are arguably the leaders in boxing at the moment. How has it differed, or how has it lived up to your expectations?
Like, I never want to sound like an arse licker for Matchroom or something like that. But when I turned professional, I was a bad underachiever as an amateur because I just didn't live the life. I could get to an ABA final and I hadn't done what I should have done, or I was burning the candle at both ends. I was training hard, but I was living hard as well. And I even remember once when I was on GB trials, and Jim Davidson rang me, amateur coach, and went, he passed through the first thingy, where is he? To me, amateur coach, and he went, well, what it is, he's in Magaluf. You know what I mean? So that's just the way it was. It wasn't embedded me the way it is now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love the boxing now, and I love the lifestyle. But when moving forward now as a professional, I just think like you only get one shot at this, and if you mess it up, there's no going back. And I'm really like, I need these big fights to get me back in there. So as a small term goal now is to get a big fight, get myself back into the top 10 rankings, and then I'll move forward from there, definitely.
Aside from obviously the skill set and the work that you're doing in the ring, is there a pressure because you have a platform like with Matchroom, because you're now with Ingle at the Ingle Gym? Is there a pressure to, you know, be in exciting fights or to keep relevant, or, you know, because it's very, I think a lot of boxing fans don't really understand what it takes or what it's like to be at your level, and there's all these different factors that go into being at your level, not just performing in the ring.
One of my worst things has been since joining Matchroom is I've suffered with anxiety a lot, especially around fight times. Like, the God's honest truth, like, my last two main fights, like against when I fought for the European title, when I went to Newcastle and fought Ritson, I was getting in the ring in both of them fights with, must have been 40 hours with no sleep. There was even a time when I fought Lewis Ritson, and they set the alarms off in the hotel and everyone had to go outside. It was and then we seen some fella do a video saying, time to wake up, Robbie, and stuff like that. But someone from the Newcastle side of things had already let me know, so we'd changed my hotel. But the only difference was I was still up anyway, because I can never sleep. And at the time I was with my old coach, and he could confirm this for me, because he had no problem sleeping. It must have been 5, 6 in the morning, and the alarms had just gone off in the hotel, but I was still awake anyway, because I can just not switch off with anxiety. And Dominic, I told Dominic about this problem when I'd moved with Dominic, and then Dominic gave me a few little tricks and things. And even in that last fight, he wasn't even a no one, and I still struggled to sleep. But Dominic had given me a few things, and I thought, if Dominic's going to be my coach, he needs to know what I'm like. So I was ringing him. I rang him at 3 in the morning. He was thinking, he was like, "What's up?" He was like, "What's up? What's up?" I was like, "I just can't sleep." And he was like, "What the fuck do you want me to do? Come and cuddle you?" Because he's a proper solid personality, Dominic. He's not there to fucking mess about. I was like, "Dom, what the fuck can I do? I can't sleep." So then he gave me a few little tricks and that, and then calmed me down. And just by saying to me, listen, no matter, even if you can't sleep, I'll make sure you're all right when you get in that ring. I'll make sure you're alert. I'll make sure you're on it. And just because he put that sort of that into my mind, before I knew it, I fell asleep. And then I was down at breakfast. So it's just little things that some people won't realise in boxing. But I always wanted to be with Matchroom. And what I was saying before was, because I underachieved when I first turned professional, I was like, I had to go through the old school way. I had to small horse sports centres, dinner shows. But because I was a popular lad around the area, I could sell 30 grand's worth of tickets on a dinner show, which was unheard of. Do you know what I mean? I could have the place packed. So then eventually, due to like winning good fights, getting in good fights, getting like small appearances on like ITV and other networks, I then got my contract off Matchroom. And at the time I had other offers on the table at the time. And my manager was like, listen, this one could get you there, but that one was obviously Matchroom. It's 3-fight deal, your first 3-fight deal, etc. But because when it's first turned professional, I always wanted to be with Matchroom because I thought, like, they're the number one in my eyes, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, no, forget the other one. Sign that. I want that. And Neil was just like, fine, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. And then the rest is history. I've been with these ever since. But I'd say the only dark side of it is because I still feel now I haven't fulfilled my potential of how good I can really be in the ring because of the anxiety with the lack of sleep going into big fights. But I feel like with Dominic, just a few little things he's taught me over time. Like even now, like when I'm back at home and things like that, I'm sleeping better due to some of the experience he's had with other fighters and what he's passed on to me. So hopefully moving forward, it'll pay dividends.
The anxiety for something for that is just, you know, that you didn't have all the time, that just started to appear. Can you pinpoint why or where it started happening or why it started happening? Are you playing over the fight in your mind? Are you wondering
Just,
about what ifs or what?
just yeah, it's the what ifs. It's the
Mm-hmm.
pressure of I'm never phased by an opponent, no matter how good he is or anything like that. It's like thinking, oh, if I don't perform here, like I've had fights where I win and I don't get it, but I think like a fan sometimes, and I think I know that would have been shit to watch. Do you know what I mean? So I always want to get the fine line of winning comfortable, but making sure it's entertaining as well, and then I start running over me in my head and I start saying, well, if I do this or if I do that, before I know it, I've had to fight 3 times before I've even laced my boots up. And it's just things like that. But I'm getting older now and I'm getting more experienced how to handle it. And I think like the more times fighters have these big occasions, the better you deal with them. And I think that hopefully will be the same for me.
Well, it's a really good point, you know, because I think the casual fan doesn't understand the impact that the role of things like social media and you know, now we're in a world where in the business of boxing there's all the analyticals that go with it. Like Sky Sports have shows upon shows dedicated to breaking down and analysing and replaying and the whole lot.
Yeah.
And I always wonder about that factor of fighters, you know, is there again a pressure to perform, to be exciting, instead of, you know, we see time and time again guys that go in and that are smart, that box clever, and then they get absolutely, you know, the press they get the next day just tears them apart. It's like, oh, it was a boring fight, but they won in the way that they needed to, you know. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like a situation where it feels like you can never win, really.
Yeah, it's definitely it's it's one of them. You're thinking, do I go into this fight and stink the place out but win comfortable, or do I go in there and try and knock them out? And if it pays off, you could just explode onto the scene. Like in my eyes, when I look back now, that was the way I looked at the Lewis Ritson fight. I had 2 ways to go into that fight. Like I knew, like I was the slicker boxer out the two of us, and everyone was just so convinced that Lewis was going to be the stronger and he was just going to steam into me. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking he's only just coming up from lightweight. He hasn't, like, as his fights go on, he'll probably develop into a much bigger and stronger light welterweight. But I was thinking, I'm physically so big for this weight, and I know how strong I am. So then in my head, I'd already like built it up in my head that me and Lewis were going to have a war in the middle of the ring. And it turns out he ended up boxing more, and I ended up trying to have the fight where I look back now and think, well, I should have just stunk the gaff out and just ran away from him. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I always remember, like, Eddie messaged me straight away after it and said, listen to me, Rob, like, I know you're in a bad place now because anyone that knows me knows I hate to lose. I hate to lose in a game of cards, never mind in a boxing ring. And he said to me, like, you're in a better position, you're in a better place now than you was on Friday, because people have seen that I can perform like that at the higher level. I just wish it would have went my way, and I still believe to this day if it had been somewhere else, I might have got the nod. But it's like one of them. I never cry over spilt milk, so I'll just hopefully we both keep winning, and then there's public demand maybe somewhere down the line for a rematch because everyone enjoyed it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. There is even now, you know, there is a lot of online conversation with fans, you know, calling out for the rematch. I mean, because I think because there was such a lot of, you know, media build up. You know, there was a lot of press,
Yeah,
there was a lot of back and forth and stuff. So I think it's one of those sort of ones that it's kind of like a natural thing that people think that
yeah.
would happen down the line. You know.
You know what? A lot of people thought it was set up, but it wasn't. But it wasn't like we personally didn't like each other when it all kicked off. We just like before everyone else knew, me and him knew, and our teams knew that we were gonna fight. So that little bit of needle was already there, and then
Yeah.
he had a little dig, I had a little dig, and then it like exploded from that. But I think it done us both better on the wages anyway, so it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
and definitely now for a rematch down the line as well. There's
Yeah,
so
so
much that it could be done with it that you could run away with yourselves with it. But what I wanted to ask is, because obviously anyone that knows you, knows your career, knows about your dad and like the career that your dad had as well. He was in the Olympics, right?
yeah, he was in the same Olympics as like Sugar Ray Leonard, the Spinks, people like that. So it was a good era in Montreal Olympics. So everyone in
It's
our city like knows him pretty well. Do you know what I mean?
incredible. When you think back to like when you were a kid and you wanted to start boxing and get into it, what was the conversation? Was it a natural thing from your end, or was your dad like, right, we're going to get you down to the boxing gym, let's have a go with this?
No, because my dad was always one of them. He used to say it was the hardest sport in the world, and I,
Hmm.
wa- I wasn't about footballer when I was firstly growing up, so I was more into that. And then, like, no exaggeration, where I live in the area I'm from in Liverpool in Kirby, there's it's rough. It's rough in parts. You know, like as you can imagine, and everyone at some point has a go at boxing or walks into a boxing gym at some time in their life. And like me and my mate, like not so long ago, literally, he's ended up. He's like he works for like tarmacking or something like that now. And he was saying like, I literally remember saying to you, "Come to the gym with us," like all them years ago. And I walked in and just wanted to get fit or whatever. But I already knew how to box a little bit because my dad had me punching his belly since I was 3 years old. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I'd said like who I was and stuff like that, there was because my dad was from over the water from Birkenhead, so just randomly there was a coach, even though it was over here in Liverpool, who was from Birkenhead, and he said, "You're not in any chance related to Robbie Davies, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was my dad, yeah." And then before I knew it, like 3-4 months down the line, I was having my first amateur fight, and then so slowly as it progressed. I think my first amateur fight was straight away was in the novice championships, like your under tens, and I fought a kid who had like 9. He hadn't won them all or nothing, but I hadn't had any, and I beat him, and I was like, oh, I couldn't breathe. Like the third round, I didn't know what was going on. It was only like 3-2s, so I was about 15, 16, and then even at this point, I was still playing with the mates that want to play football and stuff like that. And then when I got to 16, I think it was, and I hadn't been picked up like I'd hoped to be at like one of the better clubs. And then I just won the junior ABAs and I got a call for England, like my first England vest. And then just literally like that, I never played football again really. I just put everything into boxing, and then even then though I was still, like I was saying earlier on, I was still burning the candle at both ends. I was loving me boxing and loved the training, but I wanted to be out with my mates and I didn't want to miss out. And we were getting to your early years and you're 18, 19 and people are going to town. I wanted to go as well, do you know what I mean? And then before I knew it, I was like, I'm not missing nothing, do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
after I started
And
putting
the
more
sad
and more
sad
time,
thing is it takes people till their late 20s, early 30s to realize that they're not missing anything.
I'm not, I say this to like some people and they think I'm exaggerating. I was 21, 22. I was still standing on the corner of Park Brow shops in Kirby, thinking we were something we weren't. Put it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Thinking we were someone's, and then I look back now and I think like I should have done everything I was doing 3-4 years earlier.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
the rest is history. Now I've completely I don't have the same friends. I live with my missus. I've got a baby on the way. I've matured in so many ways that I wouldn't even think was real when I look back at myself back then.
Yeah.
And I owe it all. I owe it all to boxing, really.
And you know what? It's like, it's such a the kids who start boxing at a young age and they show massive potential, it's that age they get to 17, 18, 19 and the session calls them and the lads call them or whoever calls them and they quit and they leave. And, you know, some go down bad paths, others go down a path of just, you know, going into a regular job that they're not really that passionate about. And it's always that thing of what could have been. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just it's very sad to see that, like, there's so much potential.
When I first started, I was so lucky again. Like, I was working in like a local call centre where everyone in my local area worked and everyone knew everyone. But it got to a point and I was coming off. I was still working when I was doing four rounders, but then I was getting to 6 rounders and I was like, I need more time in the gym now. I can't train like an amateur to do a 6 rounder. And I told the boss and things like that, and he was like, I've been waiting for you to say this. It doesn't matter. We're still going to keep giving you your wage, but we just want you to put our name on your shorts. And they've sponsored me, like, at 7, it's coming up to 6, 7 years. They're still paying me now. They're still putting money in my bank. So, like, without them, it wouldn't have been possible. And then since then, like, other people have came along and I've met other numerous people that have helped me through my career, and it's just kept the ball rolling, really.
Are you proud of what you've achieved so far?
Do you know what? This is a mad one. Like, I always remember an interview. I don't know how long ago it was of Callum Smith. I think he might have just won a world title at the time, and he was saying, like, when he'd won the British and the European, he wasn't like he wasn't buzzing with it. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't made up because he wanted the world title, and obviously, I always remember that. And then when I'd won like the British and the European, like, the God's honest truth, I still, even now, if someone says bring your belts or something like that, I feel embarrassed doing stuff like that. I'm just not into it. I hate being like, look at me. I'm just not into anything like that. Like, my belts are literally just upstairs in a cupboard. Like, they're not out round me. Like, you see some fighters, and I don't begrudge it. Like, you should be proud of what you've achieved, and they have them around the house and things like that. But it's just not me. Like, mine are just buried away, and someone would have to literally come up to me and go, are you a boxer? Because if he didn't, I wouldn't even mention it. I'd probably talk about food or sport in general rather than speak about me being a boxer.
It is a bit of a quality in people from Liverpool, though, I find. You know, the majority of fighters that I've interviewed from Liverpool, they're very grounded, very humble, very down to earth.
Yeah, like, I think it's just the way the city is. Like, especially, no one wants to blow their own trumpet in our city. And if you do, you're looked upon in a different way. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's probably why. So, don't get me wrong, I see loads of fighters now, and they say, like, my dream is to just win the British title. And then when I look back now and I think I've won the British title and I'm still not, like, happy with what I've achieved so far, and I still want more. But I think them fighters, once they win the British title, they'll be thinking of what they can win next. And then that belt will just be put in the background then. And then they're trying to aim for the next one. The only problem is for, like, me now is with all this going on, is because they're saying it could possibly be Brits v Brits, or you're going to have to sit on the fence for a few more months till there's a fight that you really want. And I wouldn't really want my career to stagnate a bit, but when you go off, like, all the top domestic fights, I've probably fought the majority of them who were, like, champions and things like that. And then the other ones who I haven't fought are all matched up to fight each other in like competitions or things. I'm basically just waiting to hear from my manager and waiting to hear from Eddie and just see what the options are when it comes to it. If it comes to it, like, I like to keep my feet on the ground over this. I don't want to get excited and think, yes, I'm definitely fighting in July or August, and then it might not happen, and then I'll feel like I'm let down again. So just wait. Really, it's just a waiting game for everyone at the moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. An exciting time nonetheless.
Yeah, exciting to go to stay in Eddie's house.
Yeah, that was the first thing when I saw when he put out the press release and when everything came out about it. I was like, oh, the matchroom, like the
Well,
infamous
do you know,
matchroom HQ. I was like, I would so love to go there.
well, my ma loves Eddie, and so I
Oh,
hadn't seen
I'm
him.
such a fan of Eddie, such
I
a
know,
fan.
and the next minute she was like, "Hey, you might be staying in Eddie's garden here." I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "He's gonna have a boxing in his garden." I was like, "What are you on about?" And the next minute I went on social media and had a look. I thought, she's more clued up than me. But
It's like that thing, you know, when people get like a invitation to meet the Queen or Prince Charles, and they go to the
yeah,
like, and they steal like toilet paper and like plates and
oh,
stuff. That'll be all you. You'll be getting stuff for all the family.
definitely. I'll be like, I'm taking this ornament just to say it's from Eddie's house. I'm only messing. I'm not that bad.
Brilliant.
I'm literally branded Liverpool to be like typical Scouser.
It's 2 suitcases under your arm heading out the door filled with ornaments.
I came with these. What do you mean? That's what I'll be like.
While we were chatting, everyone has an opportunity to send you some questions in if they want to ask you questions. I'm going to have a little look and see what everyone wants to ask. So there's loads of people commenting just saying like class fighter, really excited to see what you do next. Shane Kirk 23 has asked, who is your dream fight?
My dream fight right now, if I could just go straight into it, would be to fight Jose Ramirez. A couple of years ago, we sparred in the wild card. He's like the WBC and I think he's got the WBO World Champion now. We were only he was about 10-0 and I was about 8-0 when we sparred, and I always thought like there was nothing in it in the spar, but he was ready to fight and I wasn't, because I always remember it was like his coaches took both sides of the spar because I was there on my own, and they said to me, I was like, the heat, I'd never sparred in that sort of heat. I was sweating. It was only like round 4. I went to the corner and I was like, gotta remember, I'm only on my holidays here. And he was like, man, you're making it look like he's on his fucking holiday. And I was like, oh, all right then. That's what. And then the next after he said that, I must have got ahead of myself. The next 2 rounds, I got my head boxed off. I was like, I trust you to say that. Jinxed me.
Brilliant! What a story.
But he since then he's excelled in so many ways, and he's become an excellent fighter, and he's absolutely smashing the game now. But if I could pick a fight for myself now, that's who it would be.
Brilliant. Jay Cartwright Boxing has asked, what was your amateur record, Robbie?
My amateur record, I had 71 fights and I lost 9.
Wow.
Yeah. And if I look back at the 9, they were like, I think I only lost 3 in England. The other ones were internationals. There was like one of them was Josh Taylor, which I begrudge. I was England captain. He was Scottish captain. They'd won 2. We'd won 2. Me and him were the final fight. It was in Scotland, and the rest was history. And then like the other ones who had lost to were like Ray Moyle. He was like junior world champion. He was when we were amateurs. It was like where the white patch had to land for you to score. Yeah. And he had this like turtle shell in his guard. You could punch him all day, you wouldn't get a point. Do you know what I mean? So, and I fought him twice in his hometown in like County Mayo. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Castlebar.
Yeah, literally, I fought him in that twice. So there was nothing I could do about them. And then the other ones were in like El Moussalai Hamad. He's beat the likes of Junior Witter. He's fought like Jeff Horn. He's a welterweight from France. He's another top fighter. I think. Who were the other ones? So I can't think of them off the top of my head. The other ones in like Germany and things like that. But they all ended up top fighters moving forward. So I never got beat by anyone that was just like a no one really. Even the kids that beat in England weren't.
It's always I love even now, like looking at Team GB and Team Ireland as well over here, and looking at the guys, because when you see the sort of patterns of that have gone before, the guy, everyone that's on those teams more often than not goes on to achieve really great things in the professional end as well. So it's always exciting to see, like, you know, who'll go
That's
first
exactly what
pro.
I'd say.
You know
Like,
what I mean?
I always keep an eye on the amateur scene, especially our GB lads and things like that, because I remember the last lot of GB lads, and then the ones before them, like James DeGell and Luke Campbell and Frankie Gavin, like, and then it was like Fowler and Callum Smith and all them lot. And when you look at each bunch, they always do well. Like now moving forward, I'm looking forward to seeing how like Pat McCormick and Luke McCormick. Like I think they're two exceptional fighters. Then Big Frazier, like I've knew him since we were younger, and he's stuck it out with GB for all them years. So like I honestly, hand on my heart, like I hope he smashes it. And I always keep my eye on all things like that to just see if it is like that, because like sometimes you look at the GB setup and you're thinking, how are they on there? Like they haven't done this or they haven't done that. You know, when you're an amateur and you're jealous of them, and you begrudge them being there. But then when you see them as they get older and they're still doing well, you think them coaches must have seen something what we couldn't at the time. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, brilliant. That's a great analogy there. Let's have a look. Wait, we see. Karen has asked, if you had to isolate with 5 people, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Right. One, I'd probably be The Rock.
Oh yeah, The Rock. This question gets asked a lot, and The Rock has appeared in an answer quite a few times.
Because he's just like, I watch all his things and he's so motivational and things like that. Yeah. Another one is a motivational person is David Goggins.
Amazing.
He was a former Navy SEAL, and I've read his book, I've listened to his audio, and when you listen to his life, what he's had, and I think you could just learn so much from him. Even just spending a couple of hours with him, I think he could completely change someone's mindset. Who else is there I'm thinking of? I'm trying to think of singers. I love my music and I can't think who I'm trying to think of. I'd probably, an actor, I'd probably want to spend the day with like Denzel Washington.
Very cool.
I think I've got every one of his films. Who else is there? Singer, probably someone along the lines that's like super famous, like Frank Sinatra. I've heard, like, I've seen like things in his Wikipedia that he was always around all the gangsters and people like that. So, you know, he'd have some old school stories. And then the other one, of course, would 100% would be a younger Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
I think he'd have you pumped just walking the shop.
Muhammad Ali and David Goggins and The Rock in the same house.
I've got
no days off there.
Some sleepover. Some sleepover, let me tell you.
Oh, God. Let's just have a look here. Okay, we'll take one more question. And Sandra Keane has asked, what's the best bit of advice that you've been given in your career?
Yeah. Do you know what? It's like caught me off guard a bit, that one. The best bit of advice I'd ever... I'll tell you a funny one, but I don't know. One time, I'm talking like when I'm so young, like my girlfriend. I've been with my girlfriend since we were kids, and I was going in. I was like going into the championships, and he banged on the door, and he said, "If I have to give you any advice, keep your feet on the floor. You're fighting the weekend." She was like, "Is that your dad?" I was like, "Oh my God." But like,
sorry.
I know that's what he was like. But I'd say the best advice probably I've ever had is probably be committed. I even on my last post what I've just done on me is Instagram. I was saying, like, you're either committed or you're not. There's no in between life in this sport. So if I had a younger version of myself, I'd say if you're gonna do it, give it 100% or don't bother.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Good advice. There's a couple, before I just sign off with you, Robbie, there's a couple, Jay Cartwright has asked again, and Conde 94 has asked, what was your amateur club?
Knowsley Vale, ABC. Diet Knowsley Vale.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Oh no, I enjoyed that, honestly. Like, I'll be honest with you, right? Like, during all this going on, and I felt like since the Lewis Ritson fight, it does take a piece of you, no matter what anyone says, when the boxing means so much to you. And I've been swerving so many of these interviews, and I've got a list as long as my arm. And I've finally done one with you now, and I think I've like broke the ice a bit. So I think I might start doing a few more now. But like, you made me feel that comfortable doing it, so thank you for that.
Well, that is one of the nicest things anyone could ever say. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad that I was your first.
Yeah.
I'll get a clap.
I had to watch it. I had to watch a few of your videos, thinking, "Oh, she's friendly, and I'll do that one." She won't start burning me with stuff.
This is the thing, because there's a lot of the guys that I've done. This is my 60th interview as well. This is the 60th interview in quarantine. Yeah, so we were landmarking each other. But a lot of the guys, you know, they're like, "What are you going to ask me?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I don't do clickbait. I don't do like big stories. It's just a chat. It's safe. It's friendly. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Thank you anyway.
No problem. Thank you very much. And hopefully we meet again somewhere down the line. And hopefully we get some good fights announced. All and right, get me a tea towel from Eddie's house when you're there, okay?
I will do. Definitely.
See you later. Take it easy.
See you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye.